Hello, class. Hope you all had a great week. For this discussion post, we are discussing our research project. My research project is on the Christian influence of the Battle of Gettysburg. So throughout our research and throughout even our readings in this course, we learned a lot about the Second Great Awakening. And me being a Civil War historian, and specifically with the Battle of Gettysburg, I wanted to really dig a little bit deeper on the Christian influence. And what we learned about in just a few weeks ago when we were talking about the Second Great Awakening, the Second Great Awakening was a powerful revitalization of Christianity that happened right at the peak of the Civil War. And the Civil War really had a great impact on that, as war typically does have a strong component to revitalization and religion. And with Gettysburg being such a impactful, significant, and popular battle, in my research, I'm arguing that Gettysburg was not only a proponent to that revitalization, as it has become such a popular battle and heavily researched and heavily known by the laity, not only just academics, but with the Christian influences that did occur in Gettysburg, it allowed for that revitalization to be seen as Gettysburg being a beacon of that revitalization, and seen as Gettysburg was a proponent of Christian influence. And since Gettysburg's popularity, it has allowed Gettysburg to be viewed as more of a significant proponent of that Christian influence. So with my research, I'm going to highlight those Christian values, themes, and identities that were present during the nation's most pivotal battle during the Civil War, and ultimately using Gettysburg as this case study to show that the Civil War was a strong component to the Second Great Awakening and that revitalization of Christianity and faith. My research will attempt to argue that the battle did have that strong component, again, not only in the battle itself, but because of its popularity, it showed how it was significant beyond with what was impacted in the battle itself. So the examples that I have identified to promote this argument includes general just soldier recollections. Key soldiers that I was able to identify were Oliver Otis Howard, who was revered as the Christian general, Joshua Chamberlain, who has, within my research, I argue in particular his popularity through popular media and how he has been kind of exposed as an American hero, even though he at the time of the battle wasn't as significant, but through myth and lore and the popularity of Gettysburg and the battle or the engagement at Little Round Top, his popularity has increased, and his survival has enabled that increase, and him being grown up as a minister and having strong Christian faith, his value of being a Christian really helped with Americans and their relation to him, and him being an American hero and a war hero that saved the battle to their perspective at Gettysburg. Him being of a Christian faith really helped promote that influence. I also highlight Father Corby, who was the chaplain of the Irish Brigade, and what he is known for at the Battle of Gettysburg is providing absolution for his brigade as they stepped off into the wheat field on July 2nd. And from my research, absolution given by a chaplain going into battle wasn't very common during the Civil War. This was more of a common thing to happen of Catholic military in Europe. So this wasn't something that was as common, but it was really impactful for the soldiers that were a part of the Great Brigade, but even soldiers that witnessed this absolution during the battle and beyond. And Father Corby, he's one of the only chaplains to have a monument at the Battle of Gettysburg. So his memory and his impact has continued to live on as something that has been very popular, and that Christian influence has instilled in the Battle of Gettysburg. The other example that I plan to argue, and this one is that I really struggled with, with my research, but was the myth of the truth at Spangler Spring, which was on the right end of the Union line. So in July 2nd, the evening right after the battle, of Confederate forces trying to force their way up the hill at Culp's Hill, that evening. At night, because of the heat in July, soldiers were seeking water, and they found the Spangler Spring. And the myth is that there were Union and Confederate soldiers that held a truce while they were able to get water and fraternize with each other. But as historians have been able to debunk this as a myth, because there isn't really any valid evidence to prove that there was fraternization. There is sources that say that there was soldiers that, from the Union perspective, did see Confederates at the spring at that evening, but there's no sources that identify at the time that there was any mingling with them. This myth has really been promoted since the blue and gray reunions, which have been promoted through this concept of reconciliation, which is purely instilled with a lot of Christian values of fraternity and honor and forgiveness, that has been promoted as, again, Gettysburg has become this example of reconciliation of the Civil War. And then my last example is the popular media that has promoted these Christian figures. Again, like I had said, Joshua Chamberlain, James Longstreet, and Robert E. Lee within these, from the Killer Angels novel, which was a historical fiction, but because there was so much fact in the book, many people and many laity have perceived it to be more of a nonfiction book. So the themes, the Christian values of these men that were promoted as American heroes have become ingrained as fact in memory instead of more of a novel-based scenario. And then this book was put into motion picture by the movie of Gettysburg in the early 1990s, and continued to promote what the Killer Angels had instilled as Christian value of American heroes. But I really enjoyed this research. I know I've gone way over time. I would love to continue to talk about this if anyone has any deeper questions, but I hope you all enjoyed your research, and I look forward to hearing about what you all have taken in your projects. So I hope you have a great night, and take care.